Right, viewers, a week after BJP's mega outreach where the Jats are concerned. What happened yesterday was Amit Shah meeting influential Jat leaders from Western Uttar Pradesh. BJP is trying to woo Western UP voters with its top netas campaigning in the region. Home Minister Amit Shah led BJP's charge in Western UP's Mathura. While addressing a rally, Shah launched a sharp attack on Samajwadi Party chief Akhilesh and said that electing him would mean a return of Gunda Raj. Earlier in the day, Shah visited the Bake Bihari temple in Vrindavan. Shah has now reached Greater Noida and will campaign in Dadri next. In the last assembly elections in 2017, the BJP won 76% of seats in Western UP. The Jat voters in the region are a deciding factor in almost all the seats.
भारतीय जनता पार्टी की सरकार देखने के पहले उत्तर प्रदेश ने एक लंबे कालखंड तक सपा बसपा सपा बसपा सपा सपा बसपा सरकारें देखी। सपा आती थी, एक जाति का काम करती थी, बसपा आती थी, दूसरी जाति का काम करती थी। कभी भी उत्तर प्रदेश का संपूर्ण विकास का नक्शा किसी ने खींचा ही नहीं। ये तो नरेंद्र मोदी जी के प्रधानमंत्री बनने के बाद, योगी आदित्यनाथ के मुख्यमंत्री बनने के बाद सबका साथ, सबका विश्वास और सबका विकास का सूत्र है। मित्रों, ये सरकारें चली, जातिवाद परिवारवाद के लिए चली, तुष्टीकरण के आधार पर चली और भ्रष्टाचार का यहां चारों ओर बोलबाला था। मैं आपको पूछना चाहता हूं, 7.5 साल से मोदी जी की सरकार है, राहुल बाबा भी भ्रष्टाचार का आरोप नहीं लगा सकते? लगा सकते हैं क्या? लगा सकते हैं क्या? 5 साल हो गए योगी सरकार को। अखिलेश बाबू, नोटों की ढेर निकलते हैं आपके लोगों के यहां से। भारतीय जनता पार्टी भ्रष्टाचार का कोई आरोप नहीं लगा। ये यूपी के चुनाव को विधायक का चुनाव मत समझिए, किसी को मंत्री मुख्यमंत्री बनने का चुनाव मत समझिए। उत्तर प्रदेश का चुनाव आने वाले देश में भाग्य का, भारत के भाग्य का निर्णय करने वाला चुनाव है। क्योंकि देश के सबसे बड़ा सूबा है, 22 करोड़ से ज्यादा मतदाता। अगर विकसित नहीं होता है प्रदेश तो देश का विकास भी पिछड़ा रहेगा।
I want to cut across right now to my colleague Aishwarya, who's joining us live. Aishwarya, where has the caravan of Amit Shah moved in Mathura? Yes, he went to the temple. Where is he right now? What has been the response? What have you picked up from the ground?
Well, one thing is very clear, Preeti. Let me tell you, when we talk about Vrindavan and Mathura, there were definitely a lot of people who stepped out of their homes, of their shops to meet Home Minister Amit Shah. And this comes just 24 hours after he spoke with prominent Jat leaders in the national capital. So the Bharatiya Janata Party is having a 360-degree approach. They are leaving no stone unturned to make sure that the Jats come back into their fold. And from what we are gathering, this will not be the only rally that Amit Shah will hold. We will see him return to Western Uttar Pradesh in days to come. The party very clearly understanding how important the community is. And Preeti, very importantly, Amit Shah set the cat amongst the pigeon when he said that Jayant Chaudhary should come back and join hands with the Bharatiya Janata Party. So we will see Amit Shah, in Western Uttar Pradesh, and we will also see this kind of outreach, constant outreach by the Bharatiya Janata Party for the community. Preeti.
Well, it is interesting because what's going to happen tomorrow. Appreciate you joining us, Aishwarya, and coming back to what's going to happen tomorrow. Jayant Chaudhary, along with Akhilesh, will come out with their own show of Jat strength in Bagpat in Muzaffarnagar area. Well, that is going to happen tomorrow, but the Jat vote, they say, most crucial in Western Uttar Pradesh, which goes to vote on the 10th of February. Let's move on now. There's an election in Punjab as well, and Rahul Gandhi made his maiden visit in terms of campaigning to Punjab. There have been lots of cancelled election rallies, primarily at the back of what the EC had said, but Rahul Gandhi was there today, flanked by Channi, flanked by Sidhu. He went to the Golden Temple. Before then, of course, he went with other leaders. His 117 Congress candidates took part in the Langar. After that, he visited the Bhagwan Valmiki Tirath Sthal. It's important. Community representation especially in Rahul Gandhi's first visit. With the Golden Temple, he ticked off the Sikh community. And now with the Valmiki temple, he will tick off the Dalit community. He's on a one-day-long visit to Punjab. The Congress sources say the idea behind was a show of strength that before the big, crucial election to Congress, it's one united house.
पंजाब में सबसे बड़ा सवाल कांग्रेस पार्टी को पंजाब में कौन लीड करेगा, और दोनों ने मुझे आश्वासन दिया और मैं बहुत खुश हुआ कि देखिए, दो लोग तो लीड नहीं कर सकते, एक ही व्यक्ति लीड करेगा। और दोनों ने मुझे कहा जो भी लीड करेगा कसम खा के दूसरा व्यक्ति अपना पूरा दम, अपनी पूरी शक्ति उसकी मदद करने में लगा देता।
कोई नाराजगी वाली बात नहीं, कांग्रेस पार्टी के लिए सभी ने काम करना है और सभी रल के इलेक्शन लड़ेंगे, कोई ऐसी बात नहीं है, कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है। हम जीतेंगे और फिर दोबारा सरकार हमारी कांग्रेस पार्टी की बनेगी।
All right, viewers, word has it that Sidhu asked Rahul while in Amritsar to declare the face of the Congress. But Sidhu himself right now with the fight of his life against his arch rival Mathura from Amritsar.
Stage is set for the biggest war of Sardars. The mother of all political battles is taking shape in Amritsar East. Bikram Singh Mathura is all set to take on arch rival Navjot Singh Sidhu.
कांग्रेस पार्टी चन्नी सरकार ने खास करके नवजोत सिंह सिद्धू जिन्हें बिक्रम सिंह मजीठिया के खिलाफ झूठा केस किया, एक गुरसिख परिवार ते एक ड्रग्स का झूठा इल्जाम लाया। सारे वर्कर इतने बैठे हैं ते बिक्रम सिंह मजीठिया नवजोत सिंह सिद्धू की जमानत जब्त कराऊगा।
Sidhu has a long-running feud with Mathura from his days in the BJP. The cricketer turned politician has consistently targeted the Akali Dal leader over alleged links to drug mafia.
Drugs ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਮਾਈਨਿੰਗ ਦਾ ਕਨੈਕਸ਼ਨ ਲਿਖਿਆ, ਇਹਦਾ ਨਾਮ ਲਿਖਿਆ, ਇਹ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਕਰਦਾ। ਦੂਜੀ ਗੱਲ तेलंगाना एक हफ्ते दे विच 50 करोड़ रुपये कमाਉਂਦਾ मैडम, ते अकाली सरकार 10 साल लगातार हर साल 40 करोड़ रुपये एक साल दे। ये करप्शन की गल करते हैं।
मैं कह सकदा कि कांग्रेस दा C is for Congress, C is for Channi and C is for corruption. 3 C's ते इन्हां दी सारी पॉलिटिक्स राजनीति निर्भर होकर रह गई।
Booked under the Narcotic Drugs and Psychotropic Substances Act last month, following pressure from Sidhu, Mathura has been trying to secure an anticipatory bail from the court.
लोग बहुत सियाने हो गए हैं, लोगों की डिसीजन है। सादा काम हैगा सी काम करना, वर्क करना, वोट करना लोगों का काम है। सो ये लोग डिसाइड करेंगे कि उन्होंने कौन चाहिए। उन्होंने को हजे अपनी बेल ता ले लो, जेल चो इलेक्शन लड़न की सलाह है तां भी ठीक है, कोई गल नहीं, जेल च बैठे भी लड़ लेंगे।
The fight, however, might not be as easy as Sidhu pictures. Mathura, for one, is a 3-time MLA. Strategically speaking, the high-profile clash between Mathura and Sidhu brings Akalis back in the picture in the Majha region, where 22 out of the 25 seats were swept by Captain in 2017. However, the grand old party is confident that Sidhu will hit Mathura out of the park.
नवजोत सिंह सिद्धू के सामने बहुत बोने हैं बिक्रम मजीठिया। असल में क्या है कि उनके जीजा हैं सुखबीर बादल वो चाहते हैं कि उनसे वो दुखी हो गए। अब वो चाहते हैं कि उनको जो है नवजोत सिंह सिद्धू के सामने डाल करके हरा दिया जाए ताकि वो आगे से अपना कद ना निकाल पाए। तो इसलिए उन्होंने एक बहुत अच्छा बहाना ढूंढा है। तो ये अकाली दल की अंदरदी चाल है।
On the other hand, Amritsar East is known as the Sidhu couple's bastion. Sidhu polled 60,477 votes in 2017, which was over 60% of the total votes. Akali BJP combines Rakesh Kumar Hani was able to get only 17,668 votes, which added to 17.7% of total votes, while Aam Aadmi Party just got 14.8%. Meanwhile, the Aam Aadmi Party, a big contender in the Punjab race, has alleged a deal between CM Channi and the Akali Dal. Aam Aadmi Party MP Raghav Chadha in a tweet said that Akalis pitted Majithia against Sidhu at Channi's behest. The Aam Aadmi Party leader claimed Majithia was returning the favour as Channi did not arrest him initially. The big threat for Sidhu is dissidence. The factional feud in Congress can punch holes in the party's vote bank. The former cricketer will be aware the match is far from over. Bureau Report, India Today.
All right, viewers, moving on. After 69 years, Air India is back where it belonged, where its journey started, with the Tatas.
The Maharaja is returning home to the Bombay House. After 69 long years of being nationalized and grounded into a pale shadow of its glorious past by a mix of politicians and bureaucrats, Air India is now back with the Tatas.
Well, the formalities have been completed. The Air India disinvestment transaction is closed. The shares have been transferred to the Talis, which is a successful bidder. Consideration amount has been received, and so now the new owners are the Talis.
We are totally delighted that this process is complete. Very happy to have Air India back in the Tata Group.
After years of flying with heavy losses, a bloated workforce and continuous interference by government servants and politicians who preyed on its first-class seats, Narendra Modi government has succeeded in doing what was considered impossible. Even Arun Shourie, the die-hard prophet of privatization who undertook the largest privatization drive in India's history under Prime Minister Atal Bihari Vajpayee, may not have dreamt of how the return the controls to Bombay House would happen. Modi's determination to get the government out of the business of flying civil aviation is what is behind the sale. Also behind the sale is the 84-year-old patriarch of the group, Ratan Tata, and his determination to reclaim JRD Tata's legacy. This is what drove India's largest conglomerate, the $310 billion Tata Group, to take control of an airline that was largely flying on the fumes of taxpayer-funded indulgence. Tata Group Chairman Emeritus Ratan Tata had shared an emotional message on social media immediately after the group had won the bid to take back the reins of Air India. Sharing an old photograph of JRD Tata stepping down from an Air India aircraft, Ratan Tata had written, "Welcome back, Air India," adding that former chairman JRD Tata would have been overjoyed if he were here today. So even as the formalities of the takeover are underway, a new board will be constituted soon, replacing the outgoing government-appointed one. The Tatas are likely to appoint a veteran aviation industry expert as the CEO. The merger of Air India Express and AirAsia India is also set to commence next week. The Tatas, who are partners with Singapore Airlines in Vistara, have made a fresh multi-year blueprint to restore the lost glory of the Maharaja. Big ticket changes like fleet and cabin upgrade will take time, but the initial focus would be on improving an on-time performance, better meals and a more customer-friendly approach. Bureau Report, India Today.
As COVID cases continue to drop in Delhi, there's good news coming in for citizens of the national capital. The weekend curfew is no more. The Delhi Disaster Management Authority lifted the weekend curfew and odd-even rule for shops in the city. However, the night curfew will remain. Restaurants and bars are allowed to operate with 50% of seating capacity. Cinema halls can also run with 50% capacity. Colleges, schools will remain closed. The DDMA gave a green signal to the government's office with 50% staff. A total of 200 guests are allowed at wedding functions. DDMA also directed officials to ensure strict enforcement of COVID protocol like wearing of masks. Meanwhile, Delhi recorded 7,498 new COVID cases and 29 deaths in the last 24 hours, with positivity rate continuing to be about 11%. All right, viewers, now curbs might have been lifted in Delhi, but let's just take you through on what still exists and what has been lifted in terms of curbs. Well, Delhi has lifted the weekend curfew. Odd-even rule in markets has also been lifted. However, night curfew, viewers, will remain from 10 p.m. to 5 a.m. In terms of cinema halls, they're open with 50% capacity, but there will be no night shows as curfew at night begins at 10 p.m. 200 people are now allowed at marriage functions. So Delhi has raised the bar in terms of those attending marriage functions. Government offices now are allowed to operate with 50% staff. Schools, colleges, however, will remain shut. Restaurants allowed to be open. However, they'll have to shut shop at 10 p.m. and only operate with 50% capacity. Meanwhile, a twist has emerged. Let's move on in the Tanjuva student suicide case. The latest coming in is of the dying declaration of the girl. A new video of the deceased student has emerged in which she details exactly what drove her to consume poison and end her life. In the video, the student says she was harassed by her warden and she wasn't able to focus on her schoolwork and scored less marks. She also says she joined school late and did not have a chance to focus on studies. Later in the video, she's asked if she wasn't allowed to wear a bindi to school, which she refutes. The video has added another twist to the entire saga that's led to endless politics. The BJP has alleged the student was harassed by the school to forcibly convert that drove her to suicide.
அப்புறமா எழுதி தரேன்னு சொன்னாலும் கேட்கவே மாட்டாங்க. பரவாயில்ல, எழுதி கொடுத்துட்டு வேலையை பாரு, நான் கரெக்டாக இருந்தாலும் தப்புன்னு சொல்லி ஒரு கணக்கில் 1 மணி நேரம் உட்கார வச்சுருவாங்க. நாங்கள் படிக்கிறோம், கான்சன்ட்ரேஷன் பண்ணுறேன். அதனால மார்க் கம்மியாக எடுத்துகிட்டே இப்படியே போயிட்டு இருந்தால் படிக்க முடியாதுன்னு நினச்சிட்டேன்.
Welcome back, viewers. You're watching our Fact Check segment where we bust certain claims masquerading to be facts on social media platforms and WhatsApp groups. Now, there's a claim floating about suggesting an Indian soldier saved a bird which was trapped in power lines. The fact to that, this video has nothing to do with India. It's a video from the year 2013 and it doesn't come from India but the United States, where a man is rescuing a trapped seagull. With this quick fact check, time for us to go into a quick break. You do stay with me. On the other side is To The Point.